Hey yo, what's good? It's the real Slim Shady, and you tuned in to Street Legends Audiobooks. Real stories, real pain, real talk. Now sit back, press play, and let's get messy. Introduction. The Way I Am. I'd like to welcome you all to my show, the real one. Not no Hollywood set, not no script, not no make-believe fairy tale. This the real Marshall Mathers talking, straight out of Detroit. The same kid that came up off 8 Mile, still smelling like cold air, cigarettes, and burnt ramen noodles. I remember that night, November 11th, 2002, 8 Mile hit theaters. Whole country was talking about it. I ain't even watched that shit at first like a celebrity. I watched it like a ghost looking back at his own life. Felt weird as fuck, seeing a version of me up on that big screen, people clapping for pain I actually lived through. All them faces in the crowd, black, white, Latino, Asian, didn't matter. Everybody leaning forward like they finally understood what it felt like coming up broke in the D, battling for air. But for me, that movie wasn't no movie. That was therapy. Every scene felt like a scar getting reopened. Every rhyme I spit in that battle was me bleeding out what I couldn't say back then. Folks was buying popcorn to watch the shit I cried through. Some of them laughing, some of them inspired. Me? I just sat there, wondering how the fuck my life turned into entertainment. I ain't never planned this. When I was working at Gilbert's Lodge, busting dishes, scrubbing grease off plates for $6 an hour, I wasn't dreaming about Oscars or soundtracks. I was dreaming about heat in the winter, about my daughter not freezing in that raggedy-ass trailer. That place, man, that was my whole world back then. Smelled like cigarettes and cheap shampoo. Mom yelling one minute, quiet the next. Bills stacking higher than hope. I used to write rhymes just to drown out the silence. You ever sit in a room so quiet it starts screaming at you? That's what it felt like living with nothing. Music was the only thing that talked back. Detroit'll make you tough, or it'll break you. There ain't no middle ground. I got jumped more times than I can count. One time, these dudes caught me off 8 Mile, stomped me out because I had the wrong sneakers on. LL Cool J troops. I thought they wanted my shoes, but nah. They just wanted to remind me what color my skin was. Truck driver found me, dropped me off in my drawers. That's the kind of shit that stick with you. It don't go away, it just sleeps inside you till you spit it out in a verse. When 8 Mile came out, people thought it was a movie about rap. Nah. It was a movie about survival. That was me. Fighting self-doubt, fighting fear, fighting being white in a black game and broke in a rich one. I ain't have a plan B. It was either win the battle or die trying. Ain't nobody hand me shit. I had to claw my way through every room full of, nah, he ain't one of us. But I never hated Detroit for that. That city made me. Every cracked sidewalk, every boarded up house, every night I spent riding in that busted trailer. It built something in me I couldn't learn nowhere else. When people ask me what made me hungry, I tell them, being told I wasn't shit. That's the fuel right there. Back in them days, I ain't have nothing but a pen, a dream, and a mouth I couldn't shut. And that mouth got me in trouble, but it also saved me. My name is dropped, and suddenly I went from battling in basements to battling the whole world. I was still broke, still living in a trailer, still drinking too much Bacardi, throwing up pizza, trying to figure out if I was ready for fame. Spoiler, I wasn't. Fame don't fix trauma. It just puts a spotlight on it. Everywhere I went, people stared like I was some circus act. Look, that's the crazy white boy that raps. They ain't see the nights I ain't sleep. The bottles, the pills, the fights with Kim, the custody shit, the guilt eating me alive because I wanted to give Haley a better life but didn't even know what peace looked like myself. People talk about 8 Mile like it's where my story started. Nah, that was the chapter where the world finally tuned in. The story started way before, when I was hiding in the corner of that same trailer, writing bars I thought nobody would ever hear. Half the time, I ain't even know if I was writing rhymes or just begging the universe to notice me. I seen both sides of life. Broke as hell, rich as fuck. Still feels the same when you close your eyes. Still that same Detroit cold inside. I got Grammys, I got plaques, but the ghosts don't leave. You just learn to rhyme over the noise. Ain't nobody prepared me for what came after 8 Mile. The pressure, the lawsuits, the headlines, my mom suing me, my friends switching sides. Everybody wanted a piece of Slim Shady, but nobody gave a damn about Marshall. I'd go home and stare at the same walls I grew up staring at, trying to remind myself who I was before all the cameras showed up. I used to think if I rapped hard enough, screamed loud enough, maybe I could drown out the pain. But pain got rhythm too, and sometimes it starts rapping back at you. That's when I realized you can't run from where you came from. You either face it or it eats you alive. So yeah, when people say Eminem changed the game, I don't even know what to tell them. All I ever did was tell the truth. My truth just happened to rhyme. I ain't try to be no savior, no symbol. I just wanted to live off something that came out of my heart instead of my hands. Detroit taught me how to fight. Hip-hop taught me how to talk. And life taught me how to hurt. Put all three together, and you get me. The good, the bad, the fucked up mix that refuses to die quiet. So if you listening right now, just know, every line, every word, every scream you ever heard from me, that was real. Not polished, not planned, not perfect, just me. This ain't no movie anymore. This is the way I am. And this time, I'm telling it myself. Chapter 1. This looks like a job for me. I remember that winter like it bit through hoodies and dreams at the same time. 99, Detroit cold. The kind that turns breath into smoke and noise into nothing. Streets look like somebody sprinkled flour across a dead city, all quiet except tires hissing past once in a while. I was standing outside that double wide, ankle-deep in crusted snow, staring at an eviction slip taped crooked on my door like a middle finger from the universe. My fingers was numb, but my pride was burnin'. I ripped it down, walked in like I still owned air, and told myself I ain't foldin' today, not today. Inside, it was warm enough to thaw the fight back into me. TV glow, cheap couch, the kind that leaves waffle patterns on your skin if you pass out on it. Haley curled up on a little pullout, hair all swirled, breathing soft. Kim moving around trying to tuck her in without waking her, and me pretending like that paper in my fist was just junk mail. I ain't locked doors no more. What for? Half our life got jacked anyway. You break a lock enough times, the sound it makes becomes background music. That whole night, I kept looking at the walls like they was screens and my life was a bootleg movie. Old show posters. That Dre photo with the dumb little "thanks for the support" asshole joke scribbled on it. It should have felt like proof I was on my way. Instead, it felt like somebody else's life was hanging in my living room, and mine was the cold outside banging on the windows asking to be let in. I remember the smell of that place. Fried grease, baby lotion, smoke, shampoo that pretended to be coconut. I remember counting bills and coming up short, doing math on the back of fast food receipts, trying to stretch $6 an hour into something that could feed 3 people and a monster called rent. I used to write to drown the silence before the silence drowned me. You ever sit in a room so quiet the fridge hum sounds like a threat? That's when the pen really talks. Every cheap notebook page I filled felt like a blanket I stole back from the cold. We got hit 3 times by the same crackhead. First time, I came home and saw the TV gone, drawers yanked out like teeth, cabinets open, crumbs like clues. Dude ate in our kitchen, left his crumbs like a signature, Even left his coat one night. I ain't proud, but yeah, we pissed on it. Shoved a dirty diaper in the sleeve and left it outside like a... I remember Gilbert's Lodge. Grease poppin', plates clackin', fingers pruned from hot water, me hummin' rhymes into the steam to keep from thinking about how far not far enough felt. Clocking out and heading to shows where nobody knew my name and everybody would by the end of my set. Hip-hop shop Saturdays, Proof holding the room down like a bouncer with bars, calling me up when I was trying to melt into the wall. He saw me before I did, on God. D12 wasn't just some clever idea we cooked up. It was a lifeboat. We all had demons we ain't want to put under our real names, so we built masks and faced them anyway. Shady was the last mask I made, and it fit a little too perfect. I remember exactly where the name hit me. Bathroom, morning, staring at tile, thinking about nothing and everything, then boom, Slim Shady. Like a switch flipped. My brain started running all the words you could rhyme with it, and I'm laughing to myself on the toilet like a maniac because it finally sounded like something I could bleed through without dying. Wiped, stood up, called everybody like I found the cure. Went and got a $50 tattoo to make sure I couldn't back out. Sometimes you gotta ink your decisions so your fear can't erase them. The infinite days taught me how invisible success can feel. Pressed the records, handed them out, heard the whispers. He sound like so-and-so. He ain't got it. Why the white boy rapping like this? Every one of those became a nail, and I built a house with them. My verses got meaner, funnier, darker, more honest. If you ain't gonna let me in the door, I'm breaking a window. That was the energy. I ain't want to be cute. I ain't want to be accepted. I wanted to be undeniable. I remember losing jobs like habits. Fired, rehired, fired again. Sleeping at homie spots, waking up on floors like a soldier in a war I never signed up for. Me and Kim blowing up and cooling down on a loop that felt like jail doors. Missing time with Haley. That was the part that cut the deepest. Ain't nothing like hearing your own kid laugh and wondering if you're gonna make rent. Courage ain't loud. Sometimes it's just showing up again. The night before I flew out for the Rap Olympics, I ain't have nowhere to stay. Broke into a place I'd been paying rent on anyway and slept on a dead floor. No heat, no lights, no nothing. Woke up mad enough to rhyme like a weapon. Got to LA, stepped in that circle, and I snapped. I was cooking everybody. Came in second. Second ain't cash. Second don't pay lights. I ain't cry, but my chest did. I walked out feeling like the city picked me up and set me back down in the same snowbank I crawled outta. But life funny. Sometimes the L is just a map folded up the wrong way. Somebody passed a tape. Somebody else pressed play. Next thing, Dre saying, "Find him." I thought homies was clownin'. They wasn't. First day in the lab with Dre, my nerves was ringing like alarms. You act cool, but inside you 12 again, staring at posters on your wall. He threw on a loop, and it felt like the floor finally leveled out under my feet. "Hi, kids, do you like..." It wrote itself. We made songs like we had a quota from God. 4 in a handful of hours. My name is slid out like it had been waiting behind my teeth for years. I walked out that session thinking either we just changed our lives or I hallucinated the whole thing. Next morning, the beat was still there, the words was still there, Dre was still Dre, and I was still me. But now me felt louder. The day that record dropped, everything sped up. MTV rotation like my face owed them money. I was still in that trailer, though, still shaking eviction notices off the doorframe, still keeping the heat low to make the bill stretch, still trying to make Haley's smile bigger than the noise outside. That's the part people don't see. They see awards, not the panic attacks. They hear punchlines, not the sleepless. I ain't built for fame classes. I was just trying to keep my head above water in a pool that kept getting wider. And Detroit, man. Detroit don't clap easy. You gotta earn every nod. I got jumped, I got laughed at, I got told to quit. I learned cadence in those rooms, how to ride a crowd like a wave, how to pull the air out and put it back on the one. I ain't the toughest, I ain't the coolest. I'm the most stubborn. I think about that double wide sometimes, about the couch that swallowed me whole after a shift, about Haley's little hand on my cheek to wake me up, about Kim and I trying to love each other and break each other in the same breath, about the skillet in my hand, the coat on the porch, the ink on my arm, the pen on the page. None of that felt cinematic when it happened. It was just life. Loud and petty and painful and sometimes beautiful in the middle of dirt. Later, when the world played it back on big screens and clear speakers, folks called it a story. To me, it was Tuesday. I remember the snow muffling the whole trailer park and the way the door creaked when it opened, and how the night air slapped the sweat off your neck. I remember standing in that doorway, holding one of Haley's blankets, watching my breath drift, telling myself, don't blink. Don't miss it. This is the part where you switch gears. Not because I believed in some fairy tale glow-up, but because the other choice was freeze and fade. People ask what changed. Was it Dre? Was it a single? Was it a movie? It was all of that and none of it. It was 1,000 little fights I didn't lose. 1,000 jokes I threw back before they could land on me. 1,000 pages where the ink said, go again. Evolution ain't a montage. It's a scar that keeps learning how to bend without breaking. So yeah, I remember March '99. Phone ringing more, bills stacking less, me still looking over my shoulder at ghosts who ain't pay rent either. I remember the cold, and I remember the warm spot on the couch where my kid fell asleep, and how that was the only award I needed to see to know I was doing the right, wrong thing. The world was getting ready to say my name. I was just getting ready to live with it. If you ask me what the evolution of Eminem is, I'd say it's simple and complicated. It's a dishwasher with busted knuckles who learned how to turn anger into cadence. It's a broke father who found a way to build a home out of hooks and 16-bar rooms. It's a Detroit story told by a mouth that wouldn't shut. It's the snow outside and the heat inside and the door between them that I kept walking through, even when there was paper taped to it telling me I wasn't welcome. I remember, and I ain't forgetting. Because every time the beat drops and the crowd roars, Chapter 2. I only cuss to make your mom upset. I remember that bathroom being cold like a walk-in fridge, tile sweating, light buzzing like a gnat by my ear, and me leaning over a stall waiting on my stomach to make up its damn mind. Bacardi and a greasy slice ain't much of a diet, but back then it counted as dinner, courage, and dessert. I coughed, spit, blinked till the mirror stopped wobbling, ran some water over my face and told my reflection, "All right, Marshall, showtime." My eyes looked like sirens, red, tired, little bit proud of it. People were outside the door, voices floating down the hall. That goofy mix of business and chaos you get before a night you probably shouldn't have planned. I slid out the bathroom and the air hit me, office air, dry with old coffee and printer heat. Folks glanced up like I was a stray dog that somehow knew the keypad code. I wasn't trying to talk. My head was doing enough of that for the whole room. I just wanted a window, a breeze, something that wasn't fluorescent, but all I had was a hallway and a manager already looking like he could taste the lawsuit. I loved him, though. He kept me alive even when I was trying to kill the mood. Next thing, we're loading cars. White limo big enough to look stupid, black limo behind it like the punchline. Radio already stuck on that station that pretends it discovered rap yesterday. Stretch slid in cracking jokes, long limbs everywhere, singing some wrong lyrics on purpose, and I'm laughing even while my stomach's still threatening to renegotiate the peace treaty. Door closes, boom. Little glass aquarium of us idiots, and there go the city lights stuttering across the ceiling. Somebody tapped the window, hood up, hand out like a skit. Pills fell into our world like hailstones, and I swear the second I palmed them, the air got heavier, and my manager's soul left his body to haunt me. He started in, full name, full tone, like I just hired TMZ to shoot a documentary. I paid the man at the window with a smile I didn't earn, and tucked the colors in my hand like candy I didn't deserve. I ain't proud. Back then, I treated my brain like it owed me rent. We pulled out into traffic. The bridge sat out there like a big metal dare, and I swallowed one with ginger ale and let the fizz burn a lane down my throat. Felt the wave creep up behind my eyes, the warm hands on my neck, that loose grin start trying to break out. Ecstasy don't make me hug trees. It makes me think faster than my mouth, turns every thought into a drum fill. I I start riffing, clowning, letting Shady talk for me. That's the thing with alter egos, man. They don't ask for permission. They grab the wheel while you reach for the aux. We rolled up next to a cab at a red light. Dude driving couldn't hear me, but I gave him a whole conversation anyway, banging the glass, mouth running in a language that only existed in my head. Stretch laughing like he found another lung just for it. We creep, we stop, we creep, and I'm switching voices like channels, jumping from corny infomercial host to late-night villain, roasting the inside of the car till the jokes fogged the windows. My manager tried to time out my mouth with a look. I put him on the unemployment line and rehired him twice in the same sentence. That was one of my favorite hobbies. Fire, rehire, repeat. He knew it was love. Didn't make it less annoying. Then we turned that corner and saw the ocean. No water, just kids. A whole tide of them outside this spot on Staten Island, jammed to the curb like the building was selling free oxygen. When you see that many faces heating up the night, you feel two things at once. First is, damn, they came for me. Second is, damn, if this goes wrong, they gon' eat me. Limo crept in and the crowd wrapped around the car like a winter coat, palms on the glass, phones up, voices climbing over each other. Security looked like they wanted to respawn somewhere else. I tucked my chin, stretched my jaw side to side, and told my legs not to do anything stupid. Door opens, pressure drops, noise jumps. It's like stepping off a boat into a stampede. We made a little triangle of bodies, my guys locking it in, and I floated in the center, hands brushing me like static. Names hitting me from every angle. M, Slim, Marshall, Shady. Inside looked like a movie that forgot to put its chairs back. Old theater bones with club skin stretched over it. No real backstage, no real plan, just a ladder to an attic that smelled like soda syrup and regrets. We climb up into a bright closet and there's the owner looking like he loaned his suit to the wrong TV show. His daughter's birthday, couple friends in sparkle tops, nervous smiles. I'm red in the face and loud in the brain, but I can switch gears. I posed, signed, tried to be decent. They said they loved the song. I said thanks with the soft voice I save for kids and dentists. When the door closed, the room went quiet enough to hear the ice in the bucket click. That's when the energy flips. The high don't ask what you need, it demands what it wants. I sat backward on a chair like I was about to interrogate the wall, thought about every bad decision that got me to every good stage. Thought about my kid's blanket back home, and the eviction tape still on a door we left behind. Thought about how many faces downstairs were too young to understand anything I was about to say, and how they was going to scream it anyway. I ain't no role model, but I was on the flyer, so I had to show up like one. Down the ladder, through a hallway that couldn't breathe, and then we squeezed onto that stage. It was small enough to smoke a brisket on, hot enough to cook it. Lights popped on and you could see the little glow sticks in their mouths and braids, like the room swallowed a constellation. The bass punched my ribs and asked me who I thought I was. I told it. Mic up, breath in. First beat drops and my mouth starts sprinting like it's late for its own funeral. Battle rhythms, barbed wire tucked in the jokes, pockets in the beat like potholes I already knew. I don't really remember what I said first, just remember the flavor. Petty, sharp, fast, disrespectful in that way that's equal opportunity. I like picking targets I see in the mirror. If it hits me first, I know it'll hit them. It's crazy how quick the faces turn worship into reach. I lean over the edge and the wave surges up, hands like 1,000 little hooks. One girl hit my waistband like it owed her money, knuckles cold, and her friend laughed like she just stole a star off a Christmas tree. I kept rapping. You learn to keep rapping, that's the craft. Breath like a metronome even when your heart's tossing furniture around. We ran through joints, some wild, some mean, some stupid on purpose. Every chorus felt like a gym chant, like after-school kids yelling on a bus, but also like confessions you gotta sing so they don't count as evidence. I poured water, let the front row baptize in it, saw two boys spit bars at each other like they'd been practicing in a basement for months just to stand this close to the speaker. You could feel the hunger. It ain't pretty. It ain't supposed to be. There's always one moment where time hiccups. Mine came between songs when the beat fell out and the room had to decide if it wanted to breathe. I took my hat off, wiped my head, leaned down to grab a towel, and a girl straight up grabbed my face like it was a handle. Quick kiss, then her friend's claws slid in and spun me to her mouth. Whole row reached, and for a split second, gravity announced it was clocking out. Security stepped up, yanked the front back just enough for me to pop loose and land on my ass, still holding the mic. Whole place laughed. Couple kids broke through, faces flushed, pupils big, grabbing air like it belonged to me. One girl pressed the window with both hands, looked right at me like she'd been talking to me in her head since she learned my name, and mouthed what she wanted without blushing about it. She tugged her top, tongue glinting, and the whole limo had to pretend not to see. I gave her the same look I try to give temptation when it acts like it's from the label. I said I couldn't. I said it with my eyes and my hands and my real age. Sometimes survival is just saying no even when every bone in your body thinks it's still 19. We finally rolled. The glass found its chill again, the noise thinned out behind us, and all that adrenaline had nowhere to land. That's when the clown comes back, the roast starts up, and my mouth goes looking for victims. I filled the silence with curse words like grout, glued the night together with nonsense. My manager leveled me with that parental silence. No words, just disappointment in a fitted cap. I told him he was fired twice and promoted once, then asked for another ginger ale like I was a responsible adult. The pills surfed the edges of my brain and I made friends with the roof of my mouth. Out the window, the island lay back down like a beast done eaten. And under the noise, a thin thread tugged. Always does. The part of me that ain't famous, that ain't hungry for claps, that just wants a quiet couch and a 2-minute cartoon with my kid. Music stole my sleep and paid me in nights like that. Glorious, stupid, dangerous, holy. It also paid me in mornings where my hands shake and the news says my name like it means court date. Balance is a word people throw at you from the shore. Out here the boat knows better. You ride the chop and hope you don't drop the oar. We crossed back over water and I watched the skyline breathe like a dragon, every window an eye watching. My phone blinked with nothing I wanted to read. I thought about my mother's voice saying, I'm ungrateful. My father's silence saying, we ain't family. Detroit saying, if you leave, you better bring the city with you. Thought about the trailer with the eviction note like a tongue sticking out. The crackhead who moved like a ghost in daylight. The cheap apartments with the drywall fists and the neighbors who'd steal your groceries but leave your problems. Fame ain't a cure. It's a magnifying glass over all the scabs. You can call that poetic. I call it itchy. I cuss because it's a crowbar. Pops a lath out of a locked jaw, breaks the ice under your feet where the shame set in. Folks think it's lazy, but it ain't. It's rhythm. It's punctuation you can yell. It's me buying an extra second to pick the next rhyme up off the floor while you flinch at the last one. And yeah, sometimes I cuss just to make your mom upset. Sometimes I cuss so you don't hear the tremble underneath. We all got our armor. Mine talks a lot. We hit the hotel and I let the hallway swallow us. Inside the room, everything's standard issue. Lamp that don't want to stand straight, art that never offended anybody, bed that squeaks like it got secrets. I sat on the edge and stared at the remote like it owed me reparations, then threw it in the drawer so I couldn't lose it. That right there is addict logic. I took my hat off and felt the dent the night left in my skull. Phone buzzed, little voice memo from home. Laughter in the background. A line about a drawing, a goodnight daddy stuck to the end like a bandage. That's the hit that beats all the others. I washed my face till the water ran cool, stared at a man who keeps borrowing names to get through doors. Marshall, M, Slim, and asked him if he knows which one snores. He didn't answer. He never does. I laid back fully dressed, shoes off but laces still tied, because that's how you sleep when you learn not to trust fire alarms. Somewhere a siren sang the city to sleep. Somewhere a kid was practicing a verse from tonight and cleaning it up in front of his parents. Somewhere a blog was writing a headline with my name in it like they shared a mailbox. Me? I just stared at the ceiling until it turned into snow. And that's how those nights went. Me in a crowd, me in a car, me in a room I wouldn't remember if the carpet didn't smell the same in every city. People think the funny business is a costume. It ain't. It's a tool. I joke to tell you the truth without you calling the cops on me. I bend the words. I remember every face and none of their names. I remember the look kids get when they see you and realize you're real enough to disappoint them and still decide to love you anyway. I remember my stomach in that bathroom, making room for the night. I remember ginger ale and neon and that little attic false heaven with the boutique chips and the plastic cups. I remember the ladder down, the heat up, the mic alive. Most of all, I remember the quiet after. The the way my heart knocks on my ribs like it forgot the key. And if I laughed at the wrong time, forgive me. Comedy's just pain that learned how to juggle. I've been teaching mine to keep 3 in the air since the day life handed me 6. Some nights I drop one. Some nights I drop 'em all and call it a set. Either way, I'm back tomorrow, putting another quarter in the machine, cussing at it till it pays out a song. Chapter 3. Damn, how much damage can you do with a pen? I remember sitting in that hotel room like it was a cage made of velvet. Presidential suite, yeah, but that don't mean peace. You can dress a cage up with gold trim and marble floors. It's still a cage if your mind don't quit talking. I had this half-cold tuna melt sitting on the table, Mountain Dew bottles all over the carpet, some half-open magazines laying on the couch like ghosts from earlier interviews. The TV was on mute, some news anchor's lips moving, but I ain't care what they was saying. I was just staring at the screen, feeling that hum in my chest, that kind of silence that ain't quiet, the one that got weight. Outside the door, my security stood like a fucking wall. Big dude, barely moved. Inside, though, it was just me and my thoughts, and they ain't ever stay still. I bit into that sandwich, chewed slow. Damn, no fries? What the fuck kind of presidential meal is this? I laughed to myself. But that laugh was dry. Everything tasted like stress lately. Every bite came with a side of pressure, lawsuits, cameras, fans, fakes. Everybody wanted something. Nobody wanted me. Across from me was this reporter, one of those types who pretend they vibin' with you, but you can see the recorder glimmering in their eyes. Dude sitting forward, elbow on his knee like we best friends or something. He wanted a story, not a conversation. I could tell he was waiting for me to slip, say something wild he could twist into a headline. So, what school you went to? He asked, pen ready. How'd it feel dropping out? Same recycled shit. They all start the same way. Like, the whole world's still surprised I ain't graduate. I gave him a smirk, leaned back, said, Yeah, man, I dropped out, picked flowers, sang songs with the fam, real Disney shit. He laughed, but he ain't catch the edge behind it. See, that's the thing about people like him. They laugh at the sarcasm, not the pain. They see the punchline, not the bruise. He didn't see me sleeping in a busted car with frost on the inside windows. He didn't hear the walls rattle when my mom's was losing it in the next room. He just saw the plaques, the Grammys, the lights, not the blood it cost me to make that shine. I looked down at my hands, fingers still stained from ink and cigarettes, and thought, this pen right here? It's my weapon, my curse, my only way out. Back then I ain't got much. No silver spoon, no backup plan, just this pen and a whole lot of demons screaming for attention. I used to write till my fingers cramped. Sometimes it helped, sometimes it just made the noise louder. That's the thing about art. It don't fix you. It just makes your pain rhyme better. That day I was beat. My body was in that suite, but my head was somewhere back in Detroit. The kind of tired that don't go away with sleep. I'd been bouncing from country to country, doing interviews that all... Then that same magazine turned on me. Benzino talking reckless, calling me all types of shit. Rap Hitler, white devil. Like, damn, I ain't never hated nobody in my life more than being boxed in by people who ain't know me. They ain't see that I came up with black folks. Learned hip-hop like it was a second language 'cause it was survival. They ain't care. All they saw was my skin. So I did what I do best. I went to war with my pen. No guns, no goons, no body count. Just bars. The sauce. nail in the coffin. 2 joints and it was done. I don't brag about beef, but I bury you lyrically so deep your name echo underground. That's Detroit energy. We don't shoot first, we write first. But after a while, all that shit, the beefs, the press, the pressure, it get heavier than any hate. You can say you don't care, but when your face on every tabloid, when your name come up in Senate speeches, you start feeling it. Protesters outside shows yelling about how I'm corrupting kids, while those same kids in the back seat singing my lyrics louder than church hymns. They said I was poison. Then 8 Mile dropped, and suddenly I'm a hero. Funny how fast they switch. Same mouths that cursed me was praising me like I cured cancer. I ain't changed. They just got bored of hating me. Now I had old-ass critics writing about how they finally get me. Nah, bro, you don't get me. You just ran out of people to blame. You see a white rapper with scars and think I'm your mirror. I'm not. You see the trophies and forget the trauma. You saw me win that Oscar and figured he's safe to love now. But I'm still that same motherfucker who wrote Kim Alone in the Dark. The same one who almost lost everything because he couldn't find peace in his own head. The same kid from Detroit who wore holes in his sneakers just trying to chase a dream that kept running faster than me. It's crazy because fame don't feel like success. It feel like survival on a bigger stage. You go from fighting for a meal to fighting for a minute of silence. I used to think making it meant the pain would stop. Instead, the volume just went up. Every time I touched a mic, it felt like confessing in public. In the crowd, they cheering for your breakdown because it sound good on beat. I'd leave the stage drenched in sweat, heart pounding, and go back to a hotel room that felt colder than Detroit in January. I'd sit there, pen in hand, and remind myself, this is what you asked for, right? The truth is, I ain't ever want the spotlight. I just wanted to be heard. There's a difference. When you pour, you think fame means freedom. But once you get it, Detroit taught me that. Every alley, every block, every cold night I walked home from battles I lost, it carved something into me. Pain built me, but the pen gave it a purpose. I started seeing how words could burn bridges and build empires all in the same breath. That's why when people ask if I'd ever quit, I tell them, how do you quit breathing? This pen been keeping me alive since I was 9. Sometimes I think back to when the source first gave me that little column, unsigned hype. That was the first time anybody outside my block believed in me. I was just a broke kid from 8 Mile staring at my name in print like it was prophecy. I swore I'd never forget that feeling. And maybe that's why the betrayal cut so deep later. 'Cause when the same place that crowned you starts throwing stones, it hits different. You start realizing this industry don't love nobody. It just loves what you can give it. And Benzino, man, that whole situation was energy wasted but lessons learned. He thought he could clown me for being white, for stepping into hip-hop like I ain't earn it. But hip-hop don't got a color. It got a code. You either live it or you don't. And I lived it. Every battle, every mixtape, every sleepless night trying to get noticed in a scene that ain't want me there. Dre saw that hunger. He saw the skill before the skin. That's why we locked in. Respect recognizes real, no matter the shade. The funny part? After all the noise, after all the hate, after all the think pieces and protests, the same people who said I was destroying music started calling me a genius. Voice of a generation, rap's poet laureate. Man, miss me with that. I ain't no prophet. I'm just a fucked up kid who found a mic before he found peace. But I'll take this over silence any day. I'd rather be misunderstood than unseen. I'd rather have him curse my name than forget it. Sometimes I wonder how different life would be if nobody ever heard my name is. Maybe I'd still be back in that trailer, scribbling in notebooks, wondering if I mattered. Maybe that's why I still write like I'm broke. You can take the man out the struggle, but you can't take the struggle out the man. It's in every syllable. Every rhyme's a scar that healed just enough to keep going. So yeah, How much damage can one pen do? Enough to burn bridges, build empires, break hearts, and save your life before breakfast. That pen gave me everything. Money, pain, peace, chaos. It's the reason I'm still here breathing, even when I ain't sure why. At the end of the day, I learned to stop caring what they write. They sell papers. I sell pain. They chase stories. I live them. The truth is, I ain't blow myself up half as much as the press did. They built the monster, I just gave it a mic. And when the noise fades, when the cameras die down, when the ink dries, all that's left is the music. And that's all it ever was. Ain't nothing but music. Chapter 4. This Rap Game. I'm rolling slow up 8 Mile with the heat on halfway and the window cracked just enough to let the winter bite me awake. Streetlights stretch out like a chain of gold teeth bite mark in the dark. Salt on the asphalt, gray slush stacked on curbs, breath ghost in the glass every time I exhale. Radio low, not even a beat on, just the fan humming and the tire hiss, like the city got a snare tucked under its tongue. I'm thinking about how this whole thing started, not just for me, but for all of us, the ones who learned to talk with rhythm before we learned to sleep without sirens. How a block party turned into a passport, how a basement tape turned into a trial, how a pen became a pistol and a parachute at the same time. I pulled past a dead strip mall that used to be loud, pawn shop neon, 2-for-1 pizza, an old payphone shell standing there like a tooth knocked loose. Across the divide, the houses shrink into each other. Same little squares of grass, same busted fences, same porches where folks pretend winter ain't knocking. I know these streets too well. I know the cracks that will yank a bike wheel sideways. I know which corners smell like antifreeze and which alleys smell like cheap weed and radiator steam. And it hits me again. This rap thing ain't something I found. It's something that found me. Like a frequency my bones already knew. Way before I ever spit a 16 to a lunch table drumline, there was this echo floating over the Bronx concrete. Cool Herc pulling the brakes off the records, hunting that naked drum where your chest forgets it's a rib cage and turns into a speaker box. Backspins like time travel, 2 copies talking to each other, stretching the heartbeat so kids could dance their demons out without catching a case. No velvet ropes, no dress code, just electricity borrowed from the city and paid back in full with sweat. That's the blueprint right there. Take what's broken, make it loop till it feel whole. Then you got Bambaataa throwing universes into the pot, Kraftwerk transmissions landing on the projects like UFOs, Latin percussion doing laps around the block, funk bass lines waving you inside like it's a house party and a peace treaty at the same time. Zulu Nation stepping in like big cousins, saying, "Park the beef, plug in the speakers," turning turf wars into footwork. And Flash, man, Flash treating the crossfader like a scalpel, scratching syllables out of plastic, building a bridge from the DJ booth to the mic so the MC could run across and say something heavier than wave your hands. That's when the news started coming from the stage, not the TV. That's when the message walked out the speakers like a social worker with a bullhorn, telling the truth over a pulse you could measure a life to. I ain't know any of them yet. I was just a kid counting clouds through a leaking window, learning the sound of adults arguing by listening to which cabinet doors slammed. But even here, way over in our cold corner, the Bronx wind found a way in. Tapes of tapes of tapes hiss thick as dust on the bookshelf, but the beats fought through, the voices fought through, and something clicked in me. Oh, we allowed to talk like this? We allowed to take the ugly and make it rhyme so it ain't as heavy to carry? That. And the thing about history is, it don't sit still. It keeps climbing into new shoes. Run DMC stepped out like, "We ain't dressing for TV, TV better learn to film real life." Shell toes, black hats, lines clean as a fresh fade, beats stripped down to bone and knuckle so the words could punch without slipping. Next thing you know, the suburbs acting like MTV was church and the sermon just started. But while that crossover was cracking, my side of the glass was getting mean. Factories shutting down, dads moving out, cops moving in. Corner stores putting bars over the gummy worms. The ground itself felt hostile, like if you stood still too long, you'd sink. West Coast rolled through with the lowrider lullaby and the threat tucked right behind it. Dre turning sirens into synths, snares hitting like car doors slamming on bad news. Snoop flowing like the street was an inner tube on a lazy river, smooth and dangerous at the same time. That G-funk felt like a smile with a chipped tooth. They talked their world into existence and the country had to listen. Some learned, most just stared, but the needle kept moving, and nobody could pretend it was all sugar anymore. And then the two giants, Pac and Big, man, that was the sky talking. One with his heart bleeding through the bandana, the other with his pain tucked in a velvet pocket, both saying the same prayer in different churches. When they got took, it taught everybody what we already knew. The story's real enough to sell records, or real enough to bury you. If you ain't careful, the verses start predicting you instead of protecting you. I ain't even had a deal yet, but I felt that lesson in my teeth. By then, my Detroit classroom was wherever a circle formed. Cafeterias where the janitor gave us a 10-minute warning like we was testing fire alarms. Bus stops where the cold sharpened your punchlines so they wouldn't dull in the wind. Basements where the dryer thumped a backbeat it never planned to give us. We learned to hear the pocket in anything. Desk taps, locker bangs, the squeak of bad sneakers on waxed floors. And when the cipher opened, it wasn't just bars, it was resume, alibi, threat assessment, diary pages spit so fast the ink never dried. Proof would shoulder check me with a grin like, go, and the room would tilt toward the next voice like a plant reaching for light. You ain't win by barking the loudest. You won by saying the thing nobody saw coming and making it feel inevitable. Some nights I walked home with my knuckles sore from holding my own and my throat raw like I swallowed the mic. Some nights I ran. Not because I was scared of rap, but because rap kept me from doing something stupid when other dudes were bored enough to try it. There's a strip of grass by that old shopping center where the mud still remembers me. I learned a rule there I never wrote down. Sometimes survival ain't a chorus. It's a bridge. Quick. Necessary. Get you back to the verse you're supposed to be in. Meanwhile, the East kept dressing out the language like it was Sunday best. Wu turning mathematics into slang. Nas squeezing photographs into syllables. Jay talking like the boardroom had a trapdoor to Marcy. Underground crews popped up like weeds through concrete, stubborn and brilliant. Loops dusty as attic air, drums hitting like cheap speakers pushed beyond mercy. Raucous, quantum, all that backpack talk. Funny label, serious craft. It reminded the room that this music could whisper secrets and still make your chin nod. Hip-hop got bigger and smaller at the same time. Bigger because money finally learned our names and started sending bottles to the table. Smaller because the circle's still the circle no matter how many cameras you add. You can strap diamonds on a beat and I'll still hear the alley it came from. You can platinum plate a hook and I'll still measure it by whether a broke kid can remember it on the walk home. People love to argue what's real. To me, it's simple. If the story you tell makes somebody out there breathe easier because they ain't alone, that's real. If the beat turn a bad day into a livable one, that's real. If your verse change how a kid carries his head when he got no reason to keep it up, that's real. Everything else is costume jewelry. I think back to the first time a magazine said my name like I'd been guilty of something for years and just got caught. Controversial, problematic, savior, menace. Reporters slid their chairs close like they could smell a headline on my skin. Some nights I wanted to fight every adjective. Most nights I just wrote, because that's the only thing that ever answered me back without asking for a piece of me I couldn't afford to cut off. That pen. It's a scalpel if you're honest, and a shovel if you're lazy. I tried to use it like a locksmith. History don't stop at museum glass. It keeps dancing in front of you, asking for $1 and a chance. Kool Herc ain't a statue. He's every kid who figures out the loudest part of a song is the truest and decides to live there. Bambaataa ain't a chapter. He's the moment you realize your playlist is a passport. Flash ain't a trivia question. He's you catching your first clean transform and feeling like you split the atom with your wrist. And Kool Keith? That man proves you can bend the universe to your imagination and the beat will still hold you up. The road from block parties to arenas got potholes, but it's the same road. If you tune your steps to the kick and your doubts to the hi-hat, you'll make it across. I pull under a busted street lamp where the light flickers like it's arguing with the wind, kill the engine and let the heater wind down. It's so quiet I can hear the city's old bones creak. I picture that first speaker stack in the park, wires like veins, kids crowding close 'cause the bass felt like permission. I picture the first time I put a rhyme on paper and it looked back at me like a mirror I'd been scared of. I picture the faces in the ciphers, the way the crowd turns into one animal that only eats truth. You ask me why this music still owns me after all the mess, the lawsuits, the headlines, the fake smiles with sharp teeth behind them. It's 'cause hip-hop taught me the price of a voice, and then showed me the change in my pocket was enough if I counted it right. It's 'cause a beat never judged where I came from, only how I landed on the one. It's 'cause when the world called me a problem, 16 bars turned that into a solution I could live with for another day. From Cool Herc to Cool Keith, from cardboard dance floors to arena stages, from borrowed electricity to platinum plaques, it's the same current. It runs through busted boombox batteries and studio racks that cost a house. It runs through the Bronx and Detroit and every little town where a kid presses record on a machine older than he is and decides today he ain't invisible. It runs through me right now, seat leaned back, fingers drumming the steering wheel, finding a pocket in the heater fan like it's ASP1200. I ain't special for catching it. I'm just stubborn enough not to let go. I start the car again 'cause the cold got nosy and pull back onto the road. The tires spin a second, find grip, and we roll. Somewhere a siren yawns and changes its mind. Somewhere a hook I ain't written yet taps me on the shoulder and waits. I don't got all the answers, never did. But I know this. The history we talk about ain't behind us. It's in the rear view, sure. But it's also in the windshield, coming fast, looking familiar. The beat been patient. The beat been faithful. The beat been here longer than my doubts, and it'll be here after my name fades. I turn the volume up, not to drown myself, but to measure the day by something that ain't gonna lie to me. First kick lands, and my shoulders relax like a promise got kept. Snare snaps and the city nods back. Bassline tucks itself under the rib cage and the wheel warmers ain't the only thing heating up. I'm driving, but really I'm just following the drums. That's all any of us been doing since the park. Follow the drums till you find a crowd that talks back. Say your piece. Take your lumps. Leave the mic warmer than you found it. From Cool Herc's break to this block's salt white shoulder, from the first backspin to this little loop of breath clouding the windshield, it's all one story with 1,000 verses. I'm just writing mine so some kid with frostbit knuckles don't think he gotta wait for permission to start his. If the past taught me anything, it's that a home can be a room, a van, a stage, or a pair of headphones you wear like armor. And a future? That's just a blank 16 staring back. Dare you to breathe on it. So yeah, this rap game, from Cool Herc to Cool Keith and all the saints and sinners between, ain't a museum tour. It's a relay. You grab the baton, hope your laces hold, and run like the sirens want your legs. When your lungs burn and your line lands, you hand it off, try not to trip the next man, and pray the beat's still there when you circle back around. I catch a green light and glide through, palm steady, mind clear. Somewhere in the static, the pen in my pocket feels heavy, the way a key feels heavy when you finally know which door it opens. I ain't promised much, but I'm promised this. As long as drums exist, I got a way to turn the noise in my head into something I can live with. On God. Real talk.
Chapter 5. Became a Commodity. The West Side Highway humming like a radio stuck between stations. Whole city buzzing with that low-end static that never really sleeps. We slid up on 46th, posters all over the poles, red and white, "Hi, my name is Slim Shady," scrawled in black like graffiti on permission slips. That was the moment I realized my face wasn't just a face no more. It was a fucking logo. I stepped out that limo feeling both invisible and exposed, like the city ain't sure if it should laugh or stare. Club lights spilling onto the sidewalk, heels clicking, dudes posted up, girls bouncing in short skirts and too thin coats. New York trying to act like it don't feel cold. We pull up, and I can feel eyes crawling on us. Whole line of people waiting while our stretch slides to the curb like it owns the block. 4 dudes leaning against a wall. One of them squints through the tint, trying to make sense of what he's seeing. A bunch of white boys with a big black bodyguard. That's not a picture this scene been trained to read. "Who y'all with?" he asks. Nobody answers. He asks again, louder. I tell him straight, "Eminem." He looks me up and down like I just told a bad joke. "Who?" "Signed to Dre." His eyebrows lift. "Oh yeah? He performin'?" "3 songs." He grins, half doubt, half interest. "I'ma have to see that." We push inside. Security pat-downs thick as TSA, metal detectors screamin', tables full of confiscated knives and brass knuckles. Welcome to Friday night. Downstairs, the air heavy with sweat and weed, that mix of perfume, cologne, and low self-esteem. Everybody talking loud, trying to look richer than they wallet. Cups raised, gold flashing. It's that in-between crowd. Not underground, not commercial. Just people who need something loud enough to drown their week. We squeeze into the tiny back room, our people filling it quick. Door shuts, knock start. Steady rhythm, every few seconds. The kind that make you want to break the knob off. First few get in. Shecky green from the source. Arms full of champagne and 2 video girls barely dressed. They drift in like smoke, all gloss and leather, while the room fogs up with blunt haze. I'm sitting on the counter, mirror behind me, 1 game girl on each side, feeling like a sideshow nobody expected to sell tickets to. MC Search from third base walks in, one of the few white MCs that actually got respect back when it was damn near impossible. He hugs me like we share the same survival story, and maybe we do. Then Razkaz pokes his head in, and the air gets hotter, tighter, like oxygen cost money. Next thing I know, people knocking like they trying to break in. Milkbone's manager out there trying to talk his way past security. Funny shit, I had just dropped that quest to crush a Milkbone line, and suddenly I'm the villain. He ain't coming in, not tonight. Couple Jersey girls try too. Big smiles, big eyes, small chance. The guard blocking the door like it's his purpose in life. Inside, I'm clowning with the girls we already got in. One asks for an autograph, pulls her top down halfway. "You serious?" I ask, grinning. She nods. So I sign it. Slim Shady right across her chest, the ink curve glinting under the mirror light. Room erupts laughing, cameras flashing in my head even though none there yet. That's how the night felt. Like every move was both a joke and a test. Everybody trying to figure out what to make of me. White boy from Detroit rapping next to Dre, sitting between black video models and hip-hop legends, talking shit with a Sharpie in my hand. Some folks looking like they proud, others like they waiting for me to trip. Every knock at that door was opportunity or trouble, sometimes the same thing. My guard keeping it tight, turning people away left and right. "We just came from Jersey," one girl pleads. "We love him." "You gonna see him on stage," he tells her. "Now move back." By the time they open the door again, it's chaos. Jersey girls still begging. Some random dude claiming he's with the label, trying to sneak in behind them. Nobody believes him. He says, "I'm KG," like that's a password. My guy laughs him out the hallway. Whole club starting to sound like a heartbeat outside the wall. Then, just like that, 2 new girls slip past while the crowd argues. They walk straight up to me. "Hey, Slim Shady, I like your song." "Oh yeah? Which one?" "The one with the video." "That's really funny, the Marilyn Manson one," the other adds. I nod. "Thanks. You met Paul?" "He's a fucking fuck. His life's over." Paul rolls his eyes from the corner. They giggle, awkward but hanging on. "So you're from Detroit? What's it like?" I smirk. "It's aight. You know D? D who?" "D's nuts."
The whole room cracks up. They laugh too, but it's that nervous laugh, like they just walked into the punchline instead of hearing it. That was the game. I was the prank, the problem, the punchline, and the performer all rolled up in one. "Yo, Slim, you up?" a dude in a headset says, knocking through the laughter. We file out, smoke following us like a ghost that don't want to miss the show. The hallway thick with bodies, people whispering, pointing, judging. He's smaller than I thought. He cute. That's Dre's white Snoop. Comments floating like gnats around a light. I ain't saying shit, just keeping my hood up, letting the noise bounce off me. Then I hear the crowd murmur flip. He's performing? That mix of curiosity and disbelief. Upstairs the bass hits, DJ Stretch dropped the needle, and Royce to 5'9" already moving like the stage is living room. I grab the mic, heartbeat syncing with the snare, whole place watching like they expect a train wreck. We start with scary movies, bars sharp, beats rough, crowd frozen, trying to decide if they can clap for this white kid rapping like he actually belong here. I can feel it, that hesitation in the air, but I keep going. Zoned in, eyes closed, right hand cutting the rhythm like I'm writing invisible lyrics mid-verse. When the beat drops out, I say, "Alright, let me take it back for a minute." Dre's Nothing But a G Thing rolls in, and I watch the doubt fade off their faces like fog in sunlight. Royce yelling, "Put 'em up!" And I slide into the verse, slow, confident, blending my voice with Snoop's cadence, but keeping my twist. Crowd sings the "baby" part, grinning big. For the first time that night, I see acceptance. Real, unforced, loud as hell. Then Stretch flipped the record into My Name Is, and it's over. Whole room erupts. Girls singing the hook, dudes nodding like they just got it. That "who" from outside the club turns into "that's him, right there." I run the stage like a man possessed, almost trip off the edge, catch myself, laugh it off. That's the first time I really felt what fame might be. Not the money, not the cameras, just that moment when strangers know your words better than you. Show ends, I drop the mic, pants sagging, boxers flashing, rooms alive, people yelling, pushing for the door. Backstage turns into a sauna again. Smoke, sweat, congratulations. I'm still buzzing, heart racing, but quiet inside. The noise don't reach me the same way anymore. Outside, I hear a girl say to her friend, "I love him, and I don't even like hip-hop." The other one nods. "He's perfect. I'm gonna marry him." I just laugh under my breath. They ain't in love with me. They in love with the idea, the novelty, the white rapper who ain't supposed to exist. But it's bigger than that. I can feel it. Something shifted tonight. The room stopped looking at me like an accident and started seeing me like a mirror. That's dangerous. That's power. That's a curse. Back at the airport the next morning, I'm slumped in a booth, half dead off 2 hours sleep. Paul got that "I told you so" face, eating some mystery chicken. "Nah, I can't fuck with that," I tell him. He laughs. Fans start recognizing me, one by one. Janitor, Pizza Hut girl, random travelers. "Yo, you Eminem? Can I get an autograph?" I sign a paper plate. "Do you like violence?" They crack up. Between bites of greasy food, I'm thinking about JLB, that Detroit station that never played my shit 'cause I was white. "We don't play that record," they said. Now they probably bumping it back to back. Funny how the world spins once the money show up. I tell Paul, soon as I get home, I'ma tell him take my shit off the air. Fuck those ragged-ass fucks. He just shakes his head like he know I mean it. On the flight back, I'm watching the clouds move slow and thinking how crazy this is. Yesterday, I was fighting for mic time in basements. Now I'm signing pizza boxes for strangers who can't even spell my name. The respect hit different now. But respect's a slippery thing. It can crown you or crush you, depending on who handing it out. And I knew this was only the start. One show, one crowd, one night where I proved I belonged. But deep down, I felt the whisper that never leaves. You're still the white boy in a black game. They might cheer, but they still watchin', still waiting to see if I slip. I lean back, hoodie up, head against the window, thinking, "Aight then, let 'em watch. This ain't luck. This is blood." Plane hummin', eyelids sandpaper, city lights spilling off the wing like somebody shook a snow globe full of paparazzi. I'm slumped in this aisle seat with my hoodie up and my thoughts louder than the engine. Mine still parked back in that club where the floor was sweating and the beat kept trying to buck me off like a bad bull. Funny how a crowd can clap for you like you the truth. Then when the song cuts, the questions start crawling up the walls again. Who's he with? He for real? He from where? Like I ain't just bled on the mic 20 minutes straight, like we ain't hearing the same kick and snare. Like rhythm need a skin tone stamped on it to be valid. I stare at the tray table, all these plastic ridges, thinking about Dre's face the first time we locked in. That quiet grin he do when he already decided, before you even step in the booth, that you bow to land it. People swear he took a risk. Truth is, he ain't gamble. He counted cards. He heard the pocket I live in, the way the words elbow each other and still keep time, and he knew the math. But outside that room, whole nother equation. Every hallway got somebody asking if I'm an Elvis rerun, every magazine trying to turn my birth certificate into a marketing plan. The way they throw commodity at me like I don't hear the cash register in the back of it. Ding. Every tick of that sound got a subtext, you hot 'cause you pale, homie. On God, I ain't deaf to it. I'm just busy staying in pocket so my daughter eat and the rhymes don't rot. Cab ride after the show, me fogging the window, finger-drawing stupid little stick figures with X'd-out eyes. City flying backward, billboards blurring. I can still feel the DJ's fader in my chest, the moment he cut the beat on purpose and left my voice naked over all them faces. That split second where you either drown or you teach the room how to breathe with you. I love that cliff. That's the only honest job I ever had. Kitchen work had me hollering tickets like battle bars just to stay awake, but the stove don't clap when you stick the landing. Booth do. Stage do. Even haters do when you nail it, and they hate their hands for it. That's the best part. Forced respect got a different weight. Then that Benzino noise start ringing again, the kind you hear through a thin apartment wall when somebody upstairs keep dropping pots. I ain't asked for that man's crusade, but I understood the mask he wore. He ain't really talking to me. He talking to the mirror behind me, all them suits squeezing hip-hop like it's a lemon at brunch. I get the fear. I grew up staring at doors that never opened too. But if we gon' box, step where I can touch you. Keep it music. Don't dress the wound as a race sermon and call me the pastor. If you gon' swing, swing. So I did what I do. No press release, no podium, just beat selection and a mean idea. Nail in the coffin, the sauce. You know what it is. Drop facts, blow dust off the magazine cover so people see who stapled it. It wasn't about color, it was about craft and clout and who been buying ink by the barrel. If I'm in anybody's crosshairs, let it be 'cause I outwrote you, not 'cause my melanin registered different under the club lights. The plane lurches a little, and I think about Detroit, inevitable. Like my brain got a bungee cord tied to 8 Mile. Every time I get too high in the sky, that cord yank me down and remind me how it felt watching gas station glass turn red while the White Castle bag cold in my lap. Or that first time the radio said my name by mistake and then acted like the transmitter glitched. You learn patience when the gatekeepers pretend the key don't fit. You learn violence when patience don't pay. Not gun violence, I'm talking breath control, cadence, knife-sharp punchlines. The kind you use in a room full of strangers who want proof more than they want a party. I remember the source issues scattered on my floor back when Roaches on the Baseboard was the only audience. Pages wrinkled from getting read too hard, me stealing flows with my eyes, measuring syllables like grams. The same mag that taught me taste buds turned around and tried telling me I was bad for the recipe. That's life, though. Teacher gets salty when the students start writing his own curriculum. I ain't mad. I wrote the midterms and aced them anyway. Turbulence again. Cup rattling. Stewardess asked me if I want water. I want silence. I want 5 minutes where nobody's angle tries to sit on my lap. Instead, my brain flips channels between interviews where they ask me the same question with different suits. Do you think you benefit from being white? I give them the same truth with different metaphors. Yeah, probably. 2 times maybe. Half the reason is you, half the reason is me. Y'all built the road, I just drove it better than you expected. What else I'm supposed to say? Lie? I've been too broke to lie romantically. Honesty is cheaper and it always fits. Dre told me day one we don't rap for permission. We rap 'cause the beat is already there and the beat ain't got paperwork. He said it while scrolling through drums, head nodding like a piston. That's why I still feel safe in his room. Outside, everybody's a judge. Inside, you only guilty if your verse don't swing. That's church. That's therapy. That's parole and sentence at once. I step in there and the world go grayscale till the snare hits, then boom, color returns. Back in that New York dressing room, smoke thick enough to write in, I was half clowning, half clocking exits. Funny how I act like I don't care who's knocking, but I still hear the knocks in my sleep. Every door I ever wanted to open came with a shoulder check from somebody who'd never heard me spit. It's like selling shoes to a blind man. Gotta describe the fit until he forgets he can't see. The fast way is jokes. D's nuts makes the room light enough so you can smuggle in a bar about your mother not paying rent without the whole vibe collapsing. The slow way is to die on stage for 2 songs, then resurrect on the 3rd. I've been crucified and reborn in 3 minutes flat, more nights than I can count. Somewhere over Ohio, lights go black in patches, fields and subdivisions like checkerboards, and I slide my hand under the hoodie and feel the ink on my arm. Haley's eyes look back at me in my head like a clock with no hands. Time melted. That's why I never believed the myth of luck. I know the days lined up behind the nights. I know the bars I threw away because the rhyme landed but the feeling didn't. People think success is fireworks. It's actually a stove pilot that never goes out. You either cook or you starve. The rest is headlines. When the Benzino tape circled, some folks looked at me like I was supposed to call human resources and file a complaint. Nah. We got a ring. That's the only HR we got. I don't need a panel. I need a BPM in 2 minutes. You can smell who boxed in basements. You can smell who warmed up on Twitter. If the leather on your gloves still squeak, don't step. And if you do, know I'ma hit the body until your lungs forget your last name. Not out of malice, out of muscle memory. Out of all them nights the crowd ain't say my name till I forced it into their mouths with a cadence they couldn't deny. Media keep trying to force a novel where there's a notebook. Is he the Elvis of rap? If Elvis had my childhood, he would have chewed his lip bloody and rewritten the chorus in the dark because the first take felt too pretty. They want a neat story. Ain't none. The truth looked like Gilbert's Lodge at midnight. Antler lights, sticky tables, somebody who swears they never seen me on TV though the video play every hour. The truth is Michigan winter on your knuckles and a manager joking you for clocking in again when you said last week you gon' be famous. The truth is you get fired right before Christmas and still bring your apron back when they rehire you 8 months later because your kid got a cough and your rent don't care about your pride. That mix don't fit in no headline. It only fits in 16 bars carried by a hook that makes somebody's spine remember their own basement. We start our descent, and my stomach does that cheap carnival ride dip. I think about stepping off this plane and hitting that Michigan air that always smelled like somebody's workday. Think about the homies who see me as both poster and person, depending on the angle. Think about how the same city that taught me to duck also taught me to project. That's the paradox. They boo and embrace you with the same mouth. You learn to digest noise. You learn to recognize which whistles belong to bullets and which just belong to kettles on stoves and houses you'll never go inside. People ask how I sleep with all this noise. I don't. I nap in fragments. In car services between terminals. In green rooms while somebody's cousin talks too close to my face about opportunity. I rest when the hi-hat is tight and the bass line thick as a new winter coat. I rest when Dre says run it again, like we ain't been running it. That's the nap I trust. The rest is caffeine and stubbornness. Sometimes I replay the Benzino thing and wonder if we could have debated without blood. Then I remember what battle is. It's a courtroom where metaphors get cross-examined. It's a hospital where pride goes to die or recover. It's a landfill for excuses. If you step clean. Don't ask the crowd to carry your argument on their shoulders because you too tired to do legs. I did my leg day. Ask Detroit.
The wheels bounce twice and grab. Whole plane exhales.
The cabin lights come on and everybody pretend they weren't nervous. I pull my hoodie down, eyes burning from recycled air and recycled conversations. Gate agent gonna smile like we friends. I'll smile back like I ain't still thinking about the way that DJ cut the beat right at the punch and let me hang 10 on silence. That little surfing trick is everything you need to know about me. I'm at home where most people drown. Not 'cause I'm better, 'cause I've been down there enough to learn which way is up without light. We taxi forever. I look out and see that old Detroit color, That gray that ain't sad, just honest. Somewhere tonight, some kid is arguing with himself about if he should spend his last few dollars on studio time or a lighter and a bag to forget he had dreams. I hope he chooses the booth. Not 'cause he gonna blow up, but 'cause he gonna hear himself loud once and realize there's a voice inside him that don't sound like anybody he know. That's the whole high. Fame is just stadium-sized feedback. They pop the door. Cold steps in with chapped lips. I tuck my chin, grab my carry-on. Security guard at the bottom of the jet bridge clocks me and nods like a ref who's seen too many games to be starstruck. We both from this weather. He knows. In the car, the driver got classic rock low on the radio, some guitar lick looping like a memory. I ain't mad at it. I learned melody off stations that never played a single rapper unless it was someone's joke. Now I steal they hooks honestly and feed 'em to snares. Integration by necessity. Detroit taught me that too. You can be two things at once and still be yourself. I can be trailer park and tape deck scholar, dirty apron and clean 16, Elvis comparison and the opposite of it. I can be proof that the door ain't locked if your knuckles hard enough. Streetlights flick by. Snow stacks up on curbs like bleachers. My phone buzzes with a new headline trying to name me something I ain't got time to pronounce. Tomorrow they'll ask the same thing in a different font. I ain't mad. That's their job. Mine is simpler. Wake up, find the pocket, fill it with something that make a stranger's shoulders jump without permission. Everything else is weather. We pass the lodge on the way home, and I laugh because I can still taste the garlic pie from back then and the humiliation baked into it. Same building, same antler lights, probably same bartender, different me. Or maybe the same me with better gear. Either way, the door swings. Either way, somebody inside gonna swear they ain't never seen me on TV, and I'll smile and say keep watching. The thrill ain't them seeing me. It's me seeing them later, mouthing the words when the chorus hits. That's when I know I ain't just been a headline. I've been a habit. House gate opens like an eyelid. Engine off. Night loud with quiet. I sit a second and let the seatbelt choke mark fade. My brain still humming, still back in that club, still hearing that woman who frowned till the punchline landed and then couldn't help but laugh. That right there? That's the job too. Make disbelief nod. Make resistance hum along. I step out, breath ghosting in front of me, keys cold. Somewhere inside, my kid asleep, the real metronome. I ain't never been scared of a Benzino or a headline more than I've been scared of letting her down. Every time I touch a mic, it's child support in a different language. It's also apology letters to myself for the days I believed the worst story about me. Door shuts. Heat kisses my face. House smells like detergent and crayons. I hang the hoodie. The beat in my head keeps walking circles like a dog trying to sleep. Tomorrow we write. Tomorrow we cut. Tomorrow somebody, somewhere, gonna write about it like it's politics. They can. I'll be busy being a verb. Commodity? Maybe. Until the track starts. Then I'm exactly what I've been since them kitchen tickets. A voice trying to make chaos rhyme before the bell rings. And if that rhyme cross color lines and piss off a few historians, good. That mean it did its job. Told the truth in a room that thought it already knew it. Street quiets. Furnace whispers. I press my palm to the studio door and feel the hum waiting. Same door every night, same deal. Leave the debates outside, bring the breath in. I owe the beat another piece of me, and it owes me nothing. That's the fairest trade I ever got. Real talk. Chapter 6. If I'm a Criminal. They call me a menace on the news, a problem on the records, some paper soldier with a mouth too slick to be around kids. I hear that shit and sit there staring at the microwave light, cereal soggy, house quiet as a morgue, thinking, if I'm a criminal, how the hell am I supposed to raise a little girl? How I'm supposed to comb Barbie hair with hands that still shake from court dates and cold nights on 8 Mile? I ain't got answers half the time, just breath on the window and a name I keep writing in the fog. Haley.
till the glass goes clear again and life snaps back like a cheap extension cord. I ain't come up with a manual. I came up with food stamps and them big-ass blocks of government cheese that squeak on the knife. I remember hiding that brick under lettuce when kids came over, acting like we ate salads every day. Ma was a storm with legs. 1 minute sweet, next minute slinging every curse word in the cupboard. She'd nap twice before noon and wake up mad at the air. I used to record her on them little handheld tapes, tuck it under the couch, let that red dot blink while she ranted. I'd take the cassette to my great-granny's spot and just play it. Not to clown, just to prove I ain't crazy. See? It ain't me starting fires. It's the oxygen. We moved more than the mailman, school to school, couch to couch, boyfriends drifting in with microwaves and TVs, drifting out without they microwaves and TVs. I learned early. Keep your name sharp and your hoodie by the door. 15 hit, and I'm punching in at that dusty shop, broom in one hand, rap lines in the other, a paycheck that barely had a pulse. Ma took the meat off it and tossed me bones. I kept saying I was going to rap, and folks smirked like I said I was going to lasso the moon and sell it by the slice. Detroit don't give you much, but it gives you honesty. That's why we glare so good. You can't fake hungry here. You can't fake winter. You can't fake hoping the bus driver don't ask you for exact change 'cause you ain't got it, only have, and half a prayer. I used to wipe tables at the lodge smelling like fryer oil, writing hooks on ticket paper with wet fingers, manager yelling, "Orders!" while I'm rhyming people's burgers just to keep from going nuts. There's a rhythm to being broke. Coin, coin, sigh. Coin, coin, sigh. I folded it into bars and prayed somebody would hear the clank. And then there was her. Kim was a door I kept walking through no matter how many times the knob shocked me. Teenage love be a whole drugstore. Pills for the high, pills for the low, pills for the days when you swear you ain't taking no more pills. We grew up mad at the same wind, sleeping back to back on borrowed blankets, acting older than the calendar said 'cause rent don't care how old your lungs are. I did dumb shit, she did dumb shit, we did dumber shit together, and somehow it felt like destiny 'cause pain fit so snug it looked like it was tailored. But there's nights that live in you forever. I remember the ring box like it's still in my pocket, the hinge squeaking louder in my head than any beat I ever made. Walked in the room and saw it sittin' pretty like it belonged to somebody else's story. Waited outside till the moon clocked out and the birds clocked in. Called from the payphone like I was still in LA, like I ain't just watched the sun insult me. "Where you at?" I asked. "Home," she said. "Midnight." I said bet, and felt something split under my ribs, slow and messy. There's no ad-lib for that kind of silence. Just breath. Just asphalt. Just keys tossed in my palm like a truce I ain't believe in. I ain't gonna sit here and pretend I ain't make songs that bled on people who bled on me. Anger got its own melody. You hum it without trying. Studio lights buzzing, my eyes sandpaper. Me talking wild on wax 'cause the booth the only courtroom that let me testify with no tie on. Folks chant shit they don't even mean sometimes. Hype makes puppets out of sober people. But when the crowd gets to screaming for heads and your life is the chorus, it do something ugly to your guts. Fame is a magnifying glass in a house full of ants. Nobody asks who left the sugar out. They just watch 'em burn. The courts ain't a place for poets, on God. Suits smell like new envelopes. Judges talk like they never been wrong. And you sitting there trying not to blink too loud while strangers read your diary back to you in legalese. Is the defendant a fit father? Fit how? Like these hands ain't washed bottles till 3 a.m.? Like these eyes ain't learned to read princess books half asleep? Like I ain't switched my own words off in the car so them little ears ain't catch strays? They tally your cuss words but never count them mornings you comb doll hair with a fork 'cause you can't find the brush. They keep score with numbers that never met a hug. Some nights I rehearse answers for questions she ain't asked yet.
Why you say that about Grandma? Why you and Mom fight? Why people yell your name when we at the mall? I practice honesty with training wheels. Enough truth to be solid, enough care to be kind. I ain't hiding from my albums. They ain't disguises. They're time capsules. If she want to open 'em, I'ma sit there with her, pause button ready, and explain the ruins and the relics. Not to excuse me, just to not leave her alone with ghosts I summoned. I still pace kitchens till the tile memorized my footsteps. I still argue with receipts. I still floss with resentment sometimes and spit blood in the sink. But I set alarms for school pickup. I read the emails from teachers twice. I keep snacks in the back seat like I'm driving Uber for one. I say, watch your fingers when the car door swings. I memorize the stuffed animal names even when they change daily. That ain't me performing. That's me living. That's me trying to build a house softer than the one I grew up in with wood that ain't warped by yelling. If I'm a criminal, then my crimes got baby teeth marks on them and stickers on the evidence box. I stole time back from a world that wanted me dead or famous or both. I broke cycles with the same hands that broke remotes. I trespassed into rooms nobody like me was invited to and left the door cracked on purpose. I assaulted silence. I battered complacency. I conspired with every broke kid staring at a ceiling fan, writing rhymes on overdue notices. And for all that racket, the judge that mattered the most sits cross-legged on the rug, hair crooked, asking if we can have pancakes for dinner. Case rested. I ain't asked to be nobody's blueprint. I'm just trying to draw a straight line from who I was to who she needs. Some days the pencil snaps. Some days the page rips. Some days the line got a little shake in it. 'Cause the coffee hit wrong and the headlines hit worse. But I keep drawing. Keep writing her name in the fog on the window till the room warms up. And the letters fade. And I do it again. And again. 'Cause that's what fathers do when they don't know what else to do. They spell love in whatever steam they can make. And when the house finally sleeps, and the fridge hums like a low beat, I catch myself whispering to that microwave's blue glow. I ain't perfect, but I'm present. I ain't holy, but I'm honest. I ain't fixed, but I'm learning. And if that make me a criminal in your book, cool. Just make sure you pencil in that somewhere between the mugshot and the mug on the counter, there's a little girl with syrup on her cheek and a man with ink on his hands. And a morning where they both laughed so hard they forgot the verdict. Real talk. Chapter 7. Watch me. They keep squinting at me like I'm under them bright-ass hospital lamps again. Chest open, heart beating wild on a tray, all these hands in clean gloves trying to poke at it, label it, tame it. Watch me, I tell the room, half threat, half prayer. Since y'all swear I'm in the hot seat, watch close. Funny thing is, I've been sitting in hot seats since the first time a manager told me my shift got cut and my rent ain't. Ain't no panel could grill me harder than life did. From a sinner to a saint? Man, I ain't either. I'm the dude who crawled out the ashtray smelling like smoke and nerve, still raising a kid and trying not to choke on my own echo. It started small. Always do. Back then it was me, a pen chewed down to the nub, and a notebook with grease stains, writing hooks during smoke breaks, dreaming in lowercase. Detroit air stay cold enough to keep you honest. You lie? You can see it fog up and drift. I spit what I had 'cause I ain't owned nothing else. Then it flipped. Songs turned to shows turned to strangers chanting my name like they knew the boy under the hoodie. And the more they shouted, The more them suits rolled in with teeth like piano keys, smiling, saying, "This way, sir." I kept looking over my shoulder like the joke gonna reveal itself any second. Joke never came. Just lights. Bigger rooms. Bigger opinions. Y'all remember when they tried to convert me in public? Newspaper sermons, think pieces stacking like parking tickets. Everybody suddenly a pastor for my soul. He a danger. He a genius. He poison. He proof. They put halos on me with the same hand they threw rocks. Whole time I'm at the crib trying to find the cereal that don't cut the roof of my kid's mouth, wondering if the dryer ate another pink sock. Folks talk like I live in a movie. And yeah, sometimes I do. But it's the type with long quiet shots of a man staring at a stove flame thinking. Not the kind with happy credits and a pop song. I peeped the switch on God. One summer I'm a demon with a mic. Next spring, I'm a national treasure with a scowl. The same lines doing laps through different ears. I be in the back of a car watching cities smear by in the rain, reading headlines on a cracked screen, laughing like, now I'm wholesome? They got me sitting on daytime couches next to folks with glossy smiles, asking what's my process. Process? I'm processing everything, ma'am. I'm processing rent, custody, managers, nightmares, beats that sound like the inside of a headache, cousins asking for favors, a face in the crowd that looked like somebody I lost, and whether we got enough gas to make it back to the hotel. I'm processing me keeping my damn mouth from saying the wildest thought first. All these people see the poster, not the thumbtacks holding it up. They ain't see the basement where the ceiling sagged like a tired back, where the pop in the snare meant the extension cord ain't tripped yet. They ain't hear the mouse in the wall clutch while the 808 pounded. They ain't feel the winter breath seep through the window plastic, my breath making clouds in the booth, hoodie strings knotty. They ain't smell the epoxy of cheap foam glued to drywall while we pretended it was $1 million room. They just saw the after. That's what it mean to be redeemed in public. Everybody swear they watched you climb, but they really tuned in at floor 22 and called it the first step. I learned to wear the contradictions like a jacket turned inside out. I'm the father with the soft voice in the kitchen, stirring mac and cheese, saying, "Hey, homework first." And I'm the rapper 10 hours later in a room dark as a memory, barking over drums like the city owe me breath. I'm the guy at the parent-teacher meeting, nodding too serious. I'm the guy leaving the studio at dawn feeling like a ghost with keys. I ain't trying to clean it up for y'all no more. I live in the mess. It's my mess. And I learned where to step so I don't leave with glass in my feet. It's crazy watching folks rewrite you in real time. One day I'm the plague, next day I'm the cure they order in bulk. I did a movie about a kid who looked too much like me and suddenly the same uncles who said I'm bad for the country out here quoting my lines at cookouts. Industry love a redemption arc. It sell better than detergent. They want to hang a cross round my neck heavy enough to make my posture noble. I ain't carrying that. I ain't baptizing in nobody pool but my own sink. Splash of cold water. Wake your ass up, we got lines to fix. Pressure? Man, pressure ain't the crowd. Pressure is silence. That hotel room at 3:12 a.m. when the AC clicking like a metronome and you can hear your pulse faintly under it. Pressure is another beat folder named New 'cause new already taken 10 times. Pressure is knowing they want the same magic again but not the same song, and the part of you that made it the first time been scraped raw by a year of interviews. Pressure is closing your eyes and praying you still got a verse in you that don't sound like a rerun. That's the hot seat, not the couch across from some TV suit. I be thinking about all the rooms I turned down, too. There's invitations that feel like leashes. You walk in, you leave with a collar, a hashtag, and an apologetic smile. Nah, I ain't trying to be the safe version of the danger you liked last year. I'd rather sit at home, twisting knobs on a cheap preamp, catching a ghost on take 7, than clat neat at a gala where everybody smell like perfume and fear. Folks call it difficult. I call it not losing the voice that got me here. Funny how they swear I cleaned up. Maybe I stood up straighter. Maybe I learned to tuck my rage into tighter pockets, let it talk through craft instead of swinging blind. But the same Detroit in me that squared up to winter in a thin jacket still lives here. Same kid that counted quarters for gas still counting something. It just ain't quarters no more. The math of survival don't change. Only the units. You can go from swiping EBT to signing bonus checks and the hunger still feel like teeth inside your stomach. You can't sank that out of me. You can't center it out either. It just is. A lot of nights I drive no music on, let the city hum at me. Billboards try to sell me a cleaner version of my own face. I passed by the old block and it looked like a scar that healed wrong. Corner store still got the blue flicker light, still selling the same sugar water under a new brand name. I roll past and see a kid in a puff coat rapping to a friend who half listening, and damn if I don't feel my lungs try to rewind. I want to tell him the trick ain't never been to be loved. It's to be undeniable. Love is a weather. Undeniable is a roof. And yo, the label life turned me into a referee I never applied to be. Studio packed. All these egos like pit bulls sniffing through the same narrow hallway. Me handing out space like scripts. One homie think the hook his, other one think the verse his, both looking at me for gospel. I learned to say play it again until the room calms. I learned to leave a bar open so the best idea can land with no elbows. That's the closest I get to sainthood, giving hungry genius a plate and telling it to eat before it eats itself. But don't let the Instagram fool you. Every win got scratches on it. Every plaque is really a bandage over 2 or 3 silent losses. They keep bringing up role model. I ain't nobody's bedtime story. Still, I carry myself like she gonna ask for the real one day. Why they say you like this and that? Because people build altars out of rumors, baby. The truth ain't neat enough for frames. I tell her, your daddy complicated. And she hit me with that look that ain't even judgment. It's curiosity with pigtails. Make a man adjust his tone. Make a man delete a tweet before he send it. That's not sainthood, that's accountability with small hands. Don't get it twisted, I still get petty. I still sharpen the pen out of spite and carve initials into beats. Some nights I want smoke so bad I open the window and inhale traffic. But I learned to count to 8 in snares, let the feeling pass like a cop car on a road you ain't trying to be parked on. Maturity ain't a halo, it's a muffler. It keep the engine roar from waking up the whole street. Media stay weird. One week they want my apology, next week they want my advice. I give them neither. I give them records. That's the only language I trust. Kick, snare, breath. You press play, I confess. You press pause, I disappear. I built a house in the negative space between them 2 actions. That's my hot seat and my throne at the same time. They can't see it, but I'm comfortable here. Burn my legs enough times to know where to sit. I know the sermons about growth gon' keep coming. They want me to hold hands with the man who hated me last fall and call it progress. Maybe one day, maybe never. I ain't above forgiveness, I'm just busy. Busy trying to keep the promise I mumbled to a cheap ceiling once. That if the world ever gave me a mic for more than one night, I'd show up like I mean it. That I'd never punch the clock on the craft even if the world punched out on me. That I'd feed the art first, then the headlines, then the rumor mill if there's crumbs left. From sinner to saint, I keep saying it slow, rolling it on my tongue like a pill I ain't sure about. Truth is, I've been both in a week before. Cursed a man out in the morning, fixed a bike chain for a kid by afternoon. Prayed for my enemies over spaghetti by night, then wrote bars that could cut a friendship in half because the rhyme scheme was too perfect to waste. That's me. I ain't proud of all of it, but I ain't lying about none of it either. If there's a cross for that, it's the shape my arms make when I hug my daughter goodnight. The way it looked like I'm holding the world back so she can sleep. Watch me then. Watch me burn and boil and simmer and set. Watch me tuck the worst of me behind technique till it sound like wisdom. Watch me drag my past like a coat in slush, then hang it by the door before I walk in. Watch me choose a quiet life and a loud job, pour coffee at 1 a.m., rewrite the 3rd verse, take out the line I only wrote to be cruel. Watch me fail gentle and win ugly and still show up tomorrow without the costume either side got ready for me. And when the camera's off and the house humming, I sit on the counter, swing my feet like I'm too big for this kitchen and too small for the world, staring at the magnet family on the fridge, the crooked stick figure with my eyes and her smile. I whisper to the blue light of the stove, "We still us?" The city outside nods like an old head on a porch. Somewhere a bus hisses. Somewhere a beat wakes up in a laptop that ain't seen sleep in 3 days. Somewhere a headline gets drafted about my redemption like it's a product you can scan at a register. I pour water. I breathe. I put the cup down on a ring already there. I ain't holy, but I'm honest. I ain't cured, but I'm crafting. I ain't saved, but I'm surviving clean. If that's a saint to you, cool. If it ain't, check back after the next chorus. Until then, watch me work. Quiet hands, loud heart, Detroit spine. Watch me sit in this hot seat I brought from home. Same dance, same wobble, 'cause I don't trust new furniture yet. Watch me be the sinner who texts you up to a melody at 4 a.m. and the saint who leaves his phone on Do Not Disturb when she finally sleeps. Real talk, I ain't changing into who y'all prefer. I'm changing into better versions of the man who writes his name in window fog and waits for it to fade, then writes it again. Yo, if you rockin' with this story, hit that sub, drop a like, and let the world know you was here. Throw a comment down below. Tell me what book you want to hear next, what legend we should bring to life. Every voice matter here, every story got weight. This is Street Legends Audiobooks, where the truth don't fade, it echo. Stay tapped in, stay loyal, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.